Imagine this for a second. You're caught in some kind of medical emergency, totally out of the blue.
Yeah, happens all the time.
Exactly. And seconds are ticking by. You're in a hospital, maybe can't even speak for yourself. You might be disoriented or, even unconscious.
A really scary thought.
It is.
Yeah.
So how does the medical team get that absolutely crucial info about you? Your history, meds, allergies, the stuff they need right now to give you the right care. That immediate challenge, communicating vital details when you literally can't talk. It's a critical moment, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And that exact scenario, where time's against you and communication is tough, it really highlights why being prepared is so, so vital in healthcare.
Right.
Even within this, complex system, there are things you can control, especially how easy it is to find your essential medical info.
Absolutely. And that's really where we're diving in today. We're looking at the sources you've shared with us. They cover personal emergency prep, hospital accreditation standards, and also the role of healthcare consultancy.
A pretty wide range there.
Yeah, and we're going to pull out the most important insights. The mission here is basically to give you, the listener, a shortcut to being well-informed on how these pieces all connect in healthcare. Starting with what you can actually do for yourself in a crisis.
Okay, sounds good. So let's start right there with that foundation. Your personal emergency information toolkit.
Yep.
What documents are really essential and why do they matter quite so much when you might not be able to communicate?
Okay, yeah, let's unpack this a bit. Why is having your medical documents ready so critical in an emergency? I mean, beyond the obvious, what's the actual impact?
Well, the sources are really clear on this. It boils down to speed and accuracy. In a crisis, doctors, nurses, they need information instantly.
Makes sense.
Your documents give them a quick snapshot of your whole medical landscape, chronic conditions, surgeries you've had, the medications you're taking right now.
So it cuts through the delay.
Exactly. It bypasses that whole delay of trying to figure out your history when you can't tell them. That lets doctors make faster decisions and, importantly, more informed decisions.
And I guess that speed isn't just about being efficient, right? It's about safety, too.
Precisely. Yeah, this is where it gets really, really impactful. The sources strongly highlight that having immediate access to your list of medications and allergies, it significantly cuts down the risk of critical errors.
Like drug interactions.
Like dangerous drug interactions, exactly. I mean, think about it. Without your list, a doctor might completely unknowingly prescribe something that reacts badly with a medicine you're already on.
Which could be serious.
Potentially very severe consequences, yeah. So your documents, they act like an immediate safety check.
Yeah.
And they also help avoid repeating tests you might have just had done, which saves time, saves resources, especially in a high-pressure situation.
Wow. So it's not just, helpful information. It could literally be a lifesaver.
It really could.
There was a line in one of the sources that stuck with me. In a crisis, your documents can speak when you can't. It really is your voice in that moment.
That sums it up perfectly. Yeah. So given how crucial this is, let's maybe list out what the sources say are the must-have documents. Think of it as your essential emergency checklist.
Okay, yeah, let's do it. First off, you definitely need your basic personal ID, like an Aadhaar card here in India, or whatever your valid ID is, plus your health insurance card or the policy details.
Right, those are kind of the keys to the front door for registration and sorting out the payment side.
Then a concise medical history document. Doesn't have to be your whole life story, but a summary, right?
Yeah, exactly. Key conditions, heart disease, diabetes, asthma, epilepsy, things like that. Any major past surgeries, significant hospital stays, important vaccinations, especially key for kids or older adults, and any chronic illnesses you manage.
And critically important, a comprehensive medication list. This needs to cover absolutely everything you're taking right now.
Everything. Prescriptions, yes, but also over-the-counter stuff, supplements, vitamins.
Oh, yeah. People forget those.
They do. And you need the correct dosages and
Yes.
how often you take them. That detail matters.
Got it. What else?
Clear allergy information. This is non-negotiable. List any allergies you have, medications, food, environmental stuff like latex, anything that could affect treatment.
Okay, makes sense.
It's also really smart, the sources suggest, to include copies of recent lab reports and test results.
Oh, interesting. Why recent ones?
Well, a recent blood test, maybe a scan or an X-ray, having that copy can stop them from doing the same test again right away. It gives immediate context for their decisions.
Saves time and maybe discomfort, too.
Definitely. Then, an up-to-date list of emergency contacts. Obvious, maybe, but vital. The people the hospital needs to call who might need to make decisions if you can't.
Right, keep that current.
And potentially critical in an emergency. Your blood group certificate. If you need a transfusion or sudden surgery, that's info you absolutely want them to have instantly.
Good point. Don't want delays there.
Having your main doctor's contact info can also be useful. It lets the hospital team consult with them or verify details if they need to.
Okay. And what about things like living wills?
Yes, finally, and this is quite personal if you have them, advance directives or relevant consent forms. These are the legal documents, like living wills or a durable power of attorney for healthcare, that state your wishes clearly if you become incapacitated.
So they know what you would want.
Exactly. That list pretty much covers the crucial data points doctors need fast in an emergency. But, just having the documents isn't quite enough, is it?
Right. How do you make sure they're actually there and usable when every second counts?
What are the practical steps?
Yeah. What did the sources say about that? How do you keep this stuff ready to go?
Well, the first big recommendation is keep a physical copy handy. Don't just rely on your phone.
Good advice. Phones die or get lost.
Exactly. Use a small folder, maybe a pouch, or even one of those waterproof zip bags. Label it clearly emergency medical file or something obvious. Keep it somewhere easy to grab in your main bag, your wallet if it fits, or maybe near the front door at home.
And tell people where it is.
Crucially, yes. Make sure family members know exactly where to find it.
Okay, so physical copy first. But digital must play a role too.
Oh, absolutely. That physical copy is your reliable backup, but digital options are powerful. Leverage those.
Like the medical ID on your phone?
Yeah, medical ID features on smartphones or dedicated apps, they can store key info like allergies, blood type, contacts. Sometimes that info is accessible even if the phone is locked, which is huge.
That's smart.
And you can also scan your full documents, the history, the meds list, and save them securely. Maybe in a cloud drive like Google Drive or Dropbox, or just in a specific folder on your phone or tablet. Label it clearly, like medical documents.
And share access.
Yes. The key is to share access to those digital files with trusted family members.
So informing your family is a recurring theme here. It seems non-negotiable.
It really is, especially if you're looking after others. Make sure a caregiver or family member knows where both the physical and digital documents are. This is super important for, say, elderly parents or kids with specific health needs.
Yeah, I can see that. One source mentioned a tip for families too, didn't it?
It did. Create separate folders for each family member. Especially if someone has chronic conditions. It just keeps everything organized and quick to find in a rush.
Makes sense. Doing all this upfront organization, it might seem like a bit of a chore, but wow, it sounds like a real investment in your safety. And peace of mind, maybe.
Definitely. And, while we're talking about what to do, it's just as important to cover what not to do, the pitfalls to avoid.
Right. Good point. What are the main don'ts?
Well, we touched on it, but it bears repeating. Don't rely only on your phone.
Yeah, the battery issue, or it could be damaged in an accident, or just not with you.
Exactly. Always have that hard copy backup.
Okay, what else?
Don't clutter your emergency file with stuff that's irrelevant or way out of date.
Keep it focused.
Yeah, stick to current, essential information. Piles of old records can just cause confusion and slow things down when time is critical.
Right. And the biggest don't.
The most critical one, I think, is don't forget to update. This is absolutely not a one-time task.
Because your health changes.
Precisely. Your medical situation evolves. You get a new diagnosis, maybe start a new medication, have surgery, even just change insurance. You need to update these documents regularly.
How often are we talking?
The sources suggest ideally at least once a year, but definitely update them immediately after any significant change. Some even suggest reviewing everything every 6 months just to be safe.
Okay, so keep it current. That ensures that when those documents do speak for you, they're telling the right story, the most accurate one.
Exactly.
All right, so that covers equipping yourself for the unexpected, getting your vital information ready to go. But as you said earlier, this personal preparedness, it fits into a much bigger picture, doesn't it? The whole healthcare system.
Right. Your documents help you navigate that system, which brings us nicely to understanding a bit about the infrastructure and support systems that are actually designed to ensure quality care is happening behind the scenes.
Okay, so where do we start with that? Standards, maybe? The sources mentioned NABH.
Yes. NABH, the National Accreditation Board for Hospitals and Healthcare Providers. They're a really critical body here in India.
What exactly do they do?
Well, they're part of the Quality Council of India, QCI, and their main job is to set up standards and run accreditation programs for all sorts of healthcare organizations, hospitals, clinics, etc.
So they're setting the benchmarks.
You can think of it like that, yeah.
Yeah.
They're the architects setting the benchmarks for quality and safety across the healthcare industry.
And what does that mean for me as a patient? If a hospital is NABH accredited?
Good question. See, meeting NABH standards is actually a voluntary thing for hospitals. But when a hospital does achieve that accreditation, it's a strong signal. It means they've met really stringent benchmarks for pretty much everything.
Like what kind of things?
Oh, patient care processes, safety protocols like infection control, which is huge how the facility is managed, even down to staff qualifications and ongoing training. So from your perspective, as a patient, choosing an accredited hospital basically means you're choosing a facility that's undergone a tough external review and has shown it's committed to high standards of quality and patient safety. It's like an extra layer of assurance for you.
Okay, that makes sense. So NABH sets the bar. But hospitals are incredibly complex places to run. How do they actually reach that bar and stay there? This is where things like healthcare consultancy come into play, right?
Exactly right. The sources introduce a consultancy, Supremedic, as an example of the kind of partner that helps hospital owners navigate all that complexity.
How do they help?
They support hospitals through all sorts of phases, right from the initial planning stages all the way through to actually achieving and then maintaining standards like those set by NABH. They offer really comprehensive support because running a quality hospital takes a lot more than just medical skill.
Right, it's a whole business operation, too. And the range of services they offer kind of shows just how many pieces are involved in that puzzle.
It really does. Supremedic, for instance, helps with everything from the actual planning and designing in the hospital facilities.
Like the physical layout.
Yeah, layout, workflow. Then there's recruitment, making sure they have qualified doctors, nurses, all the support staff. A big one is implementing quality management systems, like the ones needed for NABH, to streamline processes and improve patient outcomes.
Systems and processes are key.
Absolutely. They also help with sourcing medical equipment, ensuring the hospital has the right tools, from modular operating theaters to basic furniture. Plus, healthcare business consulting, making sure the operations are efficient, the management is sound.
So the business side?
Yep. And ongoing operations management.
Right.
Optimizing things like patient flow, managing medical records, using information systems effectively. It really shows that top quality care involves expertise in construction, staffing, process improvement, technology, finance management, the whole package.
It definitely highlights that great healthcare isn't just about the amazing doctors and nurses we see. It's that entire operational backbone behind them that needs to be expertly managed.
Precisely. And the sheer breadth of focus needed in modern healthcare is just huge. The sources also mention HospiMatch, that's a brand linked with Supremedic, and the wide range of topics they cover in their blogs.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Looking through them, you see articles on financing healthcare facilities, managing chronic diseases effectively, new patient care trends, specialized care areas like for senior citizens or mental health.
Yeah, very diverse.
Extremely. Pain management strategies, different kinds of therapies, speech therapy, occupational therapy, physical rehab centers, even stuff like advances in medical imaging technology.
Wow, that really underscores how many distinct areas within healthcare need specialized knowledge and support to deliver high-quality care across the board.
It really does. It shows that ensuring quality isn't just a single fix. It's this constant effort across loads of different disciplines. And that's where expert support, like consultancy, plays a vital role helping hospitals keep up, manage all that complexity, and ultimately provide better, safer care for patients like you.
Okay, so let's try and bring this all back together for you, the listener. We've looked at empowering yourself with that crucial toolkit, your emergency medical documents. Knowing what you need, why it's so vital, especially when you might not be able to speak.
The personal preparation side.
Right. And then we've also sort of peeked behind the curtain a bit to understand some of the foundational elements of healthcare quality, how standards bodies like NABH set those important benchmarks for safety and quality.
And how comprehensive support from consultancies helps hospitals actually meet those complex standards in the real world.
Exactly. So understanding both sides, your personal preparedness and these systemic efforts, it gives you a much fuller picture of the healthcare system you interact with.
Yet, your documents aren't just bits of paper. They're a tool that works within this larger system to help make sure you get the best possible care, particularly when things go wrong unexpectedly.
So, just to quickly summarize then, we've armed you with the essentials for your own emergency medical toolkit, and hopefully given you some insight into those crucial background systems accreditation, consultancy that are constantly working towards quality in the hospitals and clinics you might need one day.
It really does highlight how individual preparedness and strong institutional standards are kind of two sides of the same coin, doesn't it?
Right.
Both are needed to navigate healthcare effectively and safely.
Absolutely. And maybe here's a powerful final thought for you to mull over, something that really comes from the spirit of these sources. The right document at the right time. It could genuinely be as powerful as the right medicine.
That's a strong thought. Think about the potential impact of having that one critical piece of information, an allergy, a medication available exactly when the medical team needs it most. It really underscores why it's worth taking action today.
It really does. And speaking of navigating the system, the sources did mention another area that sounds ripe for a future deep dive, dealing with all the hospital admission paperwork.
Oh, yeah. That definitely sounds like another one of those points where being prepared could make a real difference to the stress levels, if nothing else.
I bet. So for now, take that step today. Get your emergency documents organized, stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay prepared.